All right, we'll jump right into it. So, welcome for everyone here. For those of you that are tuning in from YouTube, if you wouldn't mind to like and subscribe to the channel, it certainly helps us out to kind of spread the news of the foxes and kind of introduce some folks into our project. I do record these every week and try to post them up there. I'm not the not the quickest poster on YouTube, but I haven't caught up to this point. So the last two episodes I think I put up yesterday. So feel free to go back and check out some of our previous DAO VCs, and just to kind of see, about our journey. If you had any kind of specific questions, I should probably do a little bit of a better job from the note side on them. That way, folks can kind of have an understanding of some of the items that are, I'll say, higher ticket items within those DAO VC spaces. I've kind of just used a generic copy pasta for those that are interested that have basically missed those previous weeks, because I know crypto being 24/7, that folks can't attend every single time slot that we set up, and I know this one too was at least earlier my time, so we'll have a little bit of a different audience here, which I certainly do appreciate. So having said all that, we'll kind of jump right into it. Starting off from our most recent updates over the past week, we had set up another round of missions. Since Dev was on vacation, we did 20 missions that were built off of what we had already created in the past, so that way people could kind of maximize the mission ability, if you will, for your foxes. So that was pretty huge for getting people more into the actual missions. As far as our den collabs go, so we have created a full den for the Integrity DAO. We posted out both the exterior, interior. I believe we are still waiting to send that out, but that will be sent out soon to them. So looking forward for their side of getting their new den. And it's joined amongst the others that we have in our directory. So for those of you that aren't too familiar, the one like bigger perk that I see from the DAO uh, dens that we have is kind of adding a little bit of a level of transparency into kind of their DAO wallet, as well as like their actual NFTs for them. Because I know different DAOs obtain different NFTs as far as kind of supporting projects or their own projects. So it's quite helpful for like the community side to just be able to go in quickly and see what's kind of going on with their DAO. One second here. Where's that up? All right, perfect. As far as merch goes, merch is still an item that we're currently working on, but we're very very close to being able to release that out as like the full thing. So we had gotten another design from Hylinks, which is pretty awesome as far as a kind of more of a streetwear design, if you will. And so that's pretty awesome for us to have, within the, I'll say, arsenal or merch arsenal, if you will. And kind of switching gears, our raffle, our April raffle, is going off today. So you'll see through the announcements that Foxy Dev, or does he do it in announcements or events? I believe he does it in events. He'll go through and he'll pick out all the winners for the raffle. Yeah, he'll do it in the events channel. So for those of you that were able to buy tickets, I believe they're sold out. I think they sold out on Friday night or yesterday morning. But just to kind of go through it, so we have around 200 sold worth of NFTs. I actually haven't checked to see, based on the floor price changes and such, where they're currently at. But at the time that we had purchased them, it was about 200 sold total. So we've got Degen Dojo, Decimus, Tadians, Suave Seals, Tamashi, Akari, Astrals, Blocksmith Labs, Grim Syndicate, Steppen, Skeleton Crew, Degen Trash Panda, Monkettes, Bitmon Trainers, Famous Fox, Transdimensional Fox, Den, and then we have 20K Foxy for 25 people, 2 unique rooms, and 5 epic rooms. So I think this is the most NFTs we've had yet in a raffle. We have been ramping them up. I believe since we've sold out the last 2, The next raffle, we'll have more tickets available for sale for it, and it's going to have more NFTs either from a soul perspective or from an actual numbers perspective. So that way, more folks have chances at winning. Um, so we're stoked about it. It's just one of the ways we're able to kind of give back to the community in a way that also utilizes our token. Recognizing that it's not a cheap set either. It's about 2/3 for what a famous fox generates in a month. But if you get a chance at winning one of these things, I mean, it's certainly a pretty solid win for anyone that does win one of these. So it's a pretty good value add. A portion of it is funded from our token market. So that's one way. I know a lot of people ask us, as far as like the funding and such that goes from the token market side. A portion of that we are allocating for our raffles as well as some of from our royalties. So this is kind of our way of giving back to the community constantly. And I think it's been wildly successful, and I think a lot of people have gotten some solid value from it. So um, definitely looking forward to seeing the winners that pop up today, and wish everyone luck with it. We also have our Foxy auction, which will be happening. So we've allocated about 150 soul worth for our Foxy auction, and we created a Foxy auction channel that was opened up again for the DAO to discuss the NFTs they'd like. I don't believe we've made a decision yet on that. So let me just double check. Yeah, I don't think we've made a decision yet on that, but that will be coming shortly. We'll kind of go back through review and purchase those up to get them launched. I believe Dev wants to launch them this Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. But he'll put that out in our announcement today, either him or myself. I'm not sure what his availability is like for pushing that out today. Um, and and the other thing that we had announced too was the trait upgrades that we're planning on doing with what we call them fame upgrades. So we are doing every accessory from the outfits and the headgear side. We'll have like additional looks to them. It won't affect rarity or rank, so those are probably the two more important pieces. But it will like significantly change, kind of the look of the fox. And we partnered up with Xeno to have that get created for our foxes. So we should have them by the end of next month completed. But we're gonna roll out like we're gonna get all of the Gen 1 upgrades for all of them, and then there's going to be at minimum a Gen 2, and then as well as a Gen 3 for the more rare attributes. I don't think we went into too much detail around that yet, but that's our current plan on it. So just to give everyone a heads up, they are going to be level gated. We are also talking about implementing a way in which folks can purchase fame for Foxy. We haven't finalized the details on that yet, but that's just to be able to get like some people that will be super eager to get to at least the first level for upgrades to be able to do it. And we're also going to be building in missions that have more fame associated to them based off of your level. So, like, it'll be level gated missions that you can't complete unless you have a specific leveled fox. And that's just going to allow people to get more fame at higher levels versus kind of like the grindy side. Because right now, the fame is fairly low, but that's because most foxes are very low level. But we're kind of building out more of this like gamified staking piece to kind of really, bring a little bit more from like an entertainment side. Also get some more value back to foxes because there's just a lot that we really can do with it. Um, so I'm pretty stoked. I've seen just like a little bit from the teaser side on the upgrades. I believe we're gonna push a teaser out today. But yeah, definitely excited to see how the foxes react to it, and I'm kind of curious to see how it might impact attributes and pricing and such on them based on like kind of the desirability for the upgrades. And the one thing that's worth mentioning is that we'll be entangling the foxes. So you'll always be able to get your back to your original fox if you want to. This is just kind of an upgrade. There's no burning mechanism. There's no nothing along those lines. Like the OG foxes will still always exist. I think that's also very important just to kind of keep us, you know, grounded to like the actual original collection set, and just for folks to kind of know how that's really going to be working. Um, yeah. So and also as the PS that he put on here is I think is very important. The initial push is going to be for famous foxes. Um, Once we're kind of done that whole set, we'll look at the transdimensional foxes as well to kind of add some level of value to those in a similar fashion because we do still want to provide value for the transdimensional foxes. I know outside of just the quarter staking and the access to our Federation chat within the DAO. So we are definitely considering what we want to do with the TFFs. Let's see. I think that covers most of the items that we have going on. Oh, the one thing worth mentioning for anyone that hasn't participated yet, by the 26th, so Tuesday, that's when the drawing will be done for the hashtag Orange Lemon contest or competition or thing that we have going on right now. So that's on Twitter. That's a collab between us and Yako. So it's really just grabbing an orange and a lemon, throwing whatever you want on it, putting it out in the real world, and and taking a picture and tweeting about it. There is a form to also fill out. So even though you tweet about it, you do have to fill out that form. That can be found in our events channel, and I'll probably push another announcement out about it later today, just so that it's kind of like on the stack. And then I'll do another announcement tomorrow, since that'll kind of get buried by us doing the raffles. So all that's to say, check it out. I posted in our announcements channel my submission that I had created. That way you can jump through. You can kind of check out the requirements for it, and make your own submissions. I think the total prize pool on that somewhere to the tune of 40 Solana. So it's a pretty decent prize pool, and everyone that does a legitimate submission, has a chance at winning for it. So yeah, that's just worth mentioning, and feel free to post about it. Have some fun with it, get a little creative. Some people kind of go above and beyond, which I think is pretty amazing. And as part of that forum too, if you are interested in letting us know, I believe there's going to be some kind of like a map that's created afterward, that just kind of highlights the locations that people are kind of doing these posts from. So we're just asking if you want to submit like your state or country or whatever kind of location you'd like to kind of tag on it, really to kind of see how popular and how worldwide this contest really goes. And it's also worth mentioning, if you live in um, a place that's not that common, between foxes. I think for the most part, a lot of us are in Southeast Asia, Australia, Europe, and the US. If you're really outside of that, if you wouldn't mind submitting one, and letting us know where you're at, that way we can kind of cover as much ground as possible on that contest. Because I think it's pretty cool. I think the Web3 environment and everyone that I've met within Foxes, it's just really neat to know where people are from. I've met folks from South Africa, I've met folks from all over Europe. Like I said, Southeast Asia, Australia, the U.S., all over the place, Canada, South America. It's just pretty awesome to see how worldly Web3 is. And I think that's part of the nature with like crypto and decentralization and all that fun stuff. So I think it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing uh where everyone's from, and the submissions that you guys submit, how creative you guys get with it. There've been a lot out there that are very creative, so I just wanted to throw that out. Um, the last thing that we had put in our announcements too is that we actually are investors into Soul Sniper. That was just kind of a recent deal for us, and I think kind of like a good benefit for Foxes as a whole. Soul Sniper's got some pretty legitimate tools, that they're building, and definitely good synergies with our token market, and some of our other utilities as well. So, um, yeah, so that's I mean, those are our main updates. We've got a lot going on in the pipeline for our 2.0 roadmap. I think some of the bigger ticket items that we're working on trying to get accomplished in the short term. I think on the merch side, I know we've gotten a few designs from the t-shirts. We're still trying to finalize out our actual like main line of merch. My hope is to have that done shortly and get that listed out there, get everyone covered that have won a token so far for the merch. So I really appreciate everyone being patient on that, but I promise you that they will be coming soon. And then kind of open that up for anyone else that's interested in obtaining merch. From the shirt designs that we've pushed out there to our actual official line, we'll have that all ready to go. And our music marketplace with Hooli Gang, that's deep underway. I don't know if we have a projected date for when we're going to be releasing that, but that should be coming up soon. And yeah, I mean, we just have so much going on. Our raids mission, I know we teased that a little bit. That's going to be coming up soon. First one, no surprises for Centurion. So if you have a Centurion Fox, be sure to get that involved. And I think it's also worth mentioning. I don't know if I said it before, but I'll definitely take questions in our Fox chat. So feel free to shoot messages, and I would ping me as well. Some people mentioning the RuneScape leveling XP system. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not by accident, for obvious reasons. I mean, it's nice too. I think the hardest thing for us, as far as like the actual the grind mode versus like figuring out what kind of system makes sense, is just the fact that like our missions are weekly. That they take a while, or 6 days, I should say. They take a while to launch, so we're still working on trying to improve like that mechanism, to be able to have kind of missions kind of rolling on a rolling basis, so that folks can be more active in the mission side, while also working on introducing a higher level missions for folks to gain um, more fame and such from them, to be able to kind of level up a little bit quicker. Um, you guys are funny here. Let's see. Not really seeing too many questions. Oh, I got Wi-Fi up here. Requested. I don't know why I'm not following you, but follow back. Let's get you up here. Hey, brought you up, Wi-Fi. What you have going on?
Morning. I'm sorry if I missed any of this while you were speaking, but I wanted to see if the transformations, are those going to be connected to the missions? And then is the Fox Muns below, is that similar to what the transformations are, or am I totally mistaken and that's another artist?
That's another artist. So I appreciate the the second question there. Fantastic job on that too, by the way. That was done um, by. Hold on, we've got quite a few of them. Man, hold on a minute, because I'm losing my mind. It's not WRD. Uh, no, it's not bread. Oh man, you put me on the spot for this one, but that's created by a different artist. I'll find their name in here. I know I have their name in here because I'm supposed to be chatting with them about other things this weekend. But yeah, no, the transformations. We'll send a teaser out today from Zeno. It's gonna be mission based. Yeah, I'll bring Muns up because I know Muns knows exactly who made it. But there are going to be different like rare, like not rarities to them, but like different levels of them as they're kind of created, and they're going to be based off of like the original attribute and like a way of kind of expanding on it. So like you'll see with the teaser we put out today what that kind of means, and they'll still work for missions. The way that they are created is going to be based off of like the level of Fox. Like they'll unlock at a certain level for you to be able to do it, and it'll cost Foxy to actually implement the transformation to your Fox. But I did mention that it'll be entangled as well. So that's just worth mentioning because the original Foxes will still exist. And Muns, now that I brought you up, who was the artist that made your
Yeah, it's master grades. So
master grades? That's right.
Grades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And I know Gway just pinged me too. Yeah, Master Grades, aka the leg fox maker. So apologize about that, Master Grade.
Great job. That's some beautiful stuff.
Yeah. Master Grade did a fantastic job on it. And I'm not gonna lie to you and say that we aren't thinking about, one way or another trying to figure out if we can get him involved in some of this as well. Maybe not necessarily for the traits that we're creating initially, but something on another level because fantastic job on that one. There was another one that he made with Cope hoodie and I think just a regular backward cap that he did some pretty neat stuff with, but definitely talented. So I'll leave it at that for now. But I appreciate you coming up and chatting a little bit. I know it's early too for some folks, so I certainly appreciate folks jumping on this early in the morning. We got quite a few people in here.
Heck yeah, love the Foxy. It's exciting that you're going full time too. I was wondering, do you have any special plans that you'd be willing to share? You got to ask for Alpha if you can, and especially with you going full time, it's pretty exciting to see, especially because you've been juggling so many things, and seeing what the Foxy can do with that kind of focus.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, just like you're saying, the full time side for me is really to kind of get my head more like in the game and in line with like everything that we're doing in Foxes. Like it's tough from like a mental juggle to kind of bounce back and forth and like deadlines and things that I have for my normie stuff and just general items that I have to kind of remember and all that kind of shit. Like it just becomes a lot, and then jumping back and forth and juggling spaces and juggling, collabs with other, groups and then like the Twitter angle and trying to figure that out some more. It's just going to be able to give a lot more flexibility to be able to kind of dive, head first really into everything Foxes and to just focus on the different pieces and making sure that we're hitting the right marks when it comes down to our marketing angles and the collaborations in the community side. I think we've been doing a fantastic job with it, but obviously with the level of tools and such that we have for Foxes, I think we can do a bit more and try and figure out what makes sense from like the largest Solana ecosystem side, because our tools are gated to Foxes, and I know we've started mentioning to folks that you can get Foxy via other ways. We've added in a Foxy command, if you will, within our Discord that kind of helps to onboard some folks if they don't want to purchase a Fox, or if they have just a den or something like that and they want to still utilize our tools. So just trying to focus on building that out a bit more, kind of focus on building the brand a bit more and kind of get us more into the spotlight for other folks. I know a lot of people use our tools, but just to kind of elevate the brand some is really what I'd like to try to keep focusing on and dive a bit deeper in. I think it's only going to help us in the long run. We've already got the builder side. We've already we've already proved that we can create very useful tools within the ecosystem. So it's really kind of just trying to take us to the next level. And I think all the things that we have planned for our 2.0 roadmap will get us there, and it's just making sure that we're hitting the right marks with regard to the rest of the crypto space for NFTs. So that's what I'm most looking forward to myself personally.
Yeah, huge congrats on just making the switch and the transition. I know there's got to be a lot of Foxes that are excited about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty huge for me too. I'll be honest with you to say that I'm not like nervous about it. I know what we have here. I know this is a lot bigger than just obviously myself. But Foxy Dev has been full time Foxes for a while. And for me, it's just like with a family and stuff like that. I just have to make sure that I've got like a bit more security. So it's just one of those things where I'll say like risk to reward or whatnot. As we've been building, has just been getting better and better and better. And I've gotten to the point where I am comfortable enough in diving in, and just looking forward to being able to provide as much value as possible really to the foxes. um, it's been challenging, to say the least, from the work life integration, as as my director had called it, when I've been chatting with him about me leaving. So uh, I'm looking forward to not really having that work life integration. I'm looking forward to just diving right into everything Web3, and just building as much as I can, and helping out with everything that I can in Foxes. And also worth mentioning, for anyone that may be going to NFT NYC, that I will be there, and we are in talks with setting up a Fox meetup, and I believe it might even be a joint Fox Monkey DAO meetup. So for anyone that's from Monkey DAO, anyone that's from Foxes, we're working on getting something like that set up. I know that might be a little bit early alpha, but I actually had met with Nam last night in person, which was pretty awesome. And yeah, we're definitely going to be setting something up for NFT NYC. So anyone that's out there, I'll be sure to provide more details when it gets closer. But yeah, it should be a pretty good time, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be my first NFT event to go to, and just stoked to meet some more people in person. I'll have some swag to give out for Foxes, so that way folks can kind of rep them, and I'll probably give out swag to non-Foxes too, because I'm planning on just bringing a ton of it. But yeah, looking forward to doing those kinds of things too. And I'm super jelly. Actually, I met Mac and last night. They're both heading down to the Bahamas for the Hacker House down there, so I'm super jelly about that. Like, just with the work and the family and such, of not being able to even just take them with me and go down there. Just isn't we're not quite that mobile yet, and so I envy folks that are able to just go and do that. But I think that should be pretty fun.
That does sound epic.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were doing the Bahamas. That is so cool. Is NYC in July?
It's June. I think it's June 20th to the 24th. It's within that like time frame. I think it's the 21st to the 23rd, something like that. We're going, I believe, the first 3 days of it. I'm gonna miss on the fourth day, but yeah, definitely looking forward to checking that out.
I do have a quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You talked about the entangler. Do you know if the DeGods are using something similar? Because they were saying that you'd be able to switch back and forth, and that's not an option currently. I know that they're going to do that eventually because they're moving a million miles an hour.
Mhm.
But I'm wondering, since you were talking that, is that a similar system that you guys are going to use? And do you think that you'll have it available right away for being able to switch attributes? And then I just one other question with that is, with those attributes, are you guys going for anything like the DeGods? One thing that they did is they tried to take some of the traits that they weren't in love with and like give them a little extra pizzazz, because it's more gamification for people. People randomly getting something that could be special that they weren't used to.
Yeah. So to answer your questions, yes, yes, and yes. So the entangler, I believe, is something that DeGods is working on getting to work, and that's going to be the same fashion for us. I don't want to overpromise, but I believe, based off of the timeline that we have, that it'll be up and running for us when we're ready, with our attributes for folks to be able to kind of switch back and forth if they want. And as far as the attributes go, so it's kind of twofold for us. I think it's kind of maybe a little bit similar, not in the fact that people aren't in love with some of our attributes, because I think all of our attributes are actually pretty fire. as far as like from a general look and the whole togetherness of the whole collection. But there are some that we think we can kind of like enhance to kind of bring it to the next level. So like as an example, like our sweaters and such, like there are ways that we can kind of like, you know, break it out from like just an actual sweater and do a little bit more with it. So I think the teaser that we're putting out today, if I'm not mistaken, will kind of showcase how that will kind of enhance that look. Um, it's not final either. There might be some more tweaks that are done for that specific one that we do in the teaser, but uh, but not but I just want to make sure I don't give out too much alpha here. But like it's like as an example, like some of our traits are based off of other things that exist. So the one that most likely we'll put out today has to deal with the Legend of Zelda Triforce sweater. So kind of like taking it to the next level of like adding in a little bit more around like that character. So a little bit more of an improvement from the Legend of Zelda side, and kind of just leaning into it a bit heavier, and then kind of just basically bringing that trait to like the next level is really what we're going for all of them. And again, primarily focusing on the outfits and the headgear first. We were in discussions about some of the eyewear and some of the mouths. It's just tricky to get. I think something for all of them, and we want to make sure, at least at first, that we have a good system in place for the full set of headgear and bodies, and then we'll try and figure out what we want to do with after that. So yeah, and I think they like I think people will will fall madly in love with some of the new ones compared to the old ones, and I'll say it is what it is. Like, we've kind of grown a lot bigger than I guess what our like initial anticipation was from like our actual branding piece. And there are certainly just like different attributes that I think people resonate with a bit better and would kind of lean into a bit harder if it was like on the next level. Like I think with a lot of these attribute upgrades that people might switch from like their current uh team, if you will, that they're that they're repping, or gang. I know that we stuck with the word gang to another one based off of upgrades. So I'm very interested to kind of see how that might kind of flip around. And from what I've seen so far, I mean, it's going to be pretty epic. I think that answered all your questions. Did I miss anything on that, Rye?
Oh, you killed it.
Okay.
Thanks, Drax.
All right. Yeah, of course. Anytime. And I welcome any questions if anyone else has. It looks like I might be getting pinged, so let me see. Make sure I don't miss anything. Let's see. Context switching. Hardest for sure. Full time. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course. Mig can ask a question. I was gonna say, ping me in chat too. Okay, so let's see. A lot of times you touched on it here. You can drop any info regarding building 4 foxes. As a lot of utility is a low barrier to enter. In a sense that you need to get Foxy, for which is relatively cheap. Dev made a tweet recently about building 4 foxes, and it was mentioning in the spaces you were with Frank too. Can you just expand on what you on that if you don't mind? That's a full time. Appreciate that. So let's see here. Yeah. So I think the main point that Dev was really emphasizing there is that when we create our tools, like we create them with foxes in mind. So I think one of the more important pieces to think about with this is our ecosystem with Foxy, and the level of creativity that kind of gives us to be able to develop really whatever will be helpful within the foxes primarily. And I think, like, to his main point, mentioning like 4 foxes specifically, is that we try to get as much input from the community to make sure that we are focusing on foxes. We don't want to seem like we're building a tool for this other project or what have you, and then adding foxes to it. A lot of, I want to say, almost every pain point that we've tried to solve have been brought about from foxes. So like our goal really is to make like the whole Solana ecosystem, more user friendly and easier to deal with from the Fox side. If there's something that you're doing every day, that's a pain in the balls to do. Probably tear away from me saying it, but like, let us know 15 times. Like, our goal is to try and make it better. Like, I know some of the challenges that we have right now are just like network issues. So, it does make it a little bit more challenging if people are, trying to sweep floors, or if they're trying to do Foxy Send and they're getting like failed requests, or if they're trying to go, in bulk list. That's a bit more of a bigger problem that I don't know foxes can really like fix. But down the road, I'd love to get a Fox validator set up and running, because obviously that will help in some fashion for the ecosystem. And I know there are folks out there too that would help kind of support us in kind of creating that validator. But yeah. So when it comes down to the angle of us like building for foxes, like, we want to get as much feedback from our community with regard to what we're working on and building out. And like, our roadmap 2.0 is our roadmap 2.0. For those of you that were here from our roadmap 1.0, we built a lot more shit outside of just our roadmap 1.0. So I don't want to say that we're gated to everything that's just in roadmap 2.0. If there are problems that come up that we can tackle in a timely fashion that really adds a significant benefit to the community and Solana as a whole, we're going to build it. So I think that's just an important point to kind of emphasize as well. But yeah, we definitely look at all the messages that folks put in alpha, in chats, in foxes, wherever, DMs, constantly looking at feedback from folks to make sure that we're building out a good product, and folks are getting more and more into it. And thanks for the ping on Master Grade Muns. I was in Fox chat, so I missed that. Of course, yeah. I really appreciate the question. Yeah, and Ronan trying to get you up here to peer pressure you into talking to me, which is funny. But yeah, the one thing too that I think will be kind of cool that I'm really interested in seeing is a piece that I forgot to kind of mention that I should say that we have like kind of started working on it is our 3D foxes. So we are planning on taking the original set of foxes and putting them in a fashion that will be generative into 3D metaverse plays. I think the initial one based off of their current standards is going to be portals. So we're working on that system now. I do want to kind of throw that out there. Call it alpha, don't call it alpha. It's on our roadmap 2.0, so it shouldn't be surprising to anyone. But yeah, I think that will be pretty awesome once we have that kind of created. The thing that's worth mentioning is that it will be based off of our original attributes. It won't be based off of the upgrades. So just as a heads up on that, just because I think that would get like a lot more complex just based on the number of upgrades that we have. I think if I go back and look, I want to say the total is 150 plus. Let me just double check that real quick. Let's see here. Yeah, I believe it's around, let's see, 165 total. So between the common, uncommon, rare, and epic, some of 2, some of 3, the total amount of upgrades will be 165. So no small feat, to say the least. I think our original set of attributes is somewhere to the tune of 70 something. So you're talking almost tripling that, just about, with just the upgrades. So definitely looking forward to it. And again, I think people are going to get are going to really appreciate kind of the level of ad that brings to the whole collection. And I know it won't be easy to get. So that's the one thing. I mean, especially for the highest level on the rare side, because based on everything being level gated, we will have like higher level requirements for getting those specific ones. It'll make it more of a grind, but once we get our additional missions in there for higher Foxy, and we get our system in there for being able to get fame with Foxy, I think we'll have some people that will will be eager to buy in off the bat, which is part of the system, to help us burn a little bit of Foxy, but also to be able to kind of showcase your foxes, with your upgrades and such. I think will be kind of a different level of prestige that we don't really have within the community outside of just having like the rare attributes for foxes, which I think is pretty awesome. Yeah, and today is Sunday, so new missions will pop up today, as well as our draw for our raffle. I'm not sure the exact time that FoxyDAO is planning on doing that draw, but that should be sometime today. And I'm not seeing any other questions. I'm not sure if there's any other questions in the audience. I mean, I certainly appreciate everyone, coming out this early in the morning. We still got 50 some people rolling in here, so I'm a huge fan of seeing other folks in our DAO VC. But I'll probably end up cutting it a little bit short unless there are any other questions. And I'm always available via DMs, and you guys can always push out whatever you want in chat. I'm never against answering questions on the fly, or if people want to jump into like a voice chat or whatever. I'm never against that either, as long as I have the availability for it. But yeah, today's supposed to be pretty nice out my way, so I might try and take some advantage of that to get outside a little bit before we get into the grind of the week that is.
Hey General. Just wanted to say really quick, from the Foxes, we appreciate all your hard work. We've seen you kind of go through all these voice chats with a bunch of other projects, kind of getting our name out and all that. So just want to give you one shout out over voice chat amongst the Foxes. So thank you. Appreciate you.
No, of course, I appreciate that. Yeah, I had an awesome space. I don't know who was able to tune into it on 420. We had set it up with Moon Roving, OX Function, Frank from D Gods, and Chris over at Portals. And I mean, that shit went for 3 hours. It was pure fire. We had 1,554 people that tuned into it over that 3 hour course. It was awesome. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, I know it's long. There's a lot of good information in it, especially for anyone that might be thinking about doing a new project or anything along those lines. I definitely recommend going and checking it out. I think it's on Moon Roving's page. So for anyone that is interested, I believe I've also posted about it within our events section. Let me just jump back here to double check. Yeah, I did throw it in our event section, so you should be able to pop back in there. You can check it out on 420 from the event announcement side, and be able to check that out. And yeah, highly recommend it. Highly recommend checking it out. And no, I really appreciate that ones. I don't know, Ryan, it looked like you got dropped in here to re-request it. I'm not sure. Did you have anything else to add?
I was actually going to share that because I set a reminder for myself and put it as a pinned post. But I did want to ask you, Drax, would you be interested in a short podcast? I just started one and always love the Foxes, and I would love to sit down with you.
Of course, yeah, I'd love to. It's funny you mentioned that too. I'll throw it out as I'll call it alpha. It may or may not be, but Hooli Gangs is also starting up a podcast, and they had asked us to be on there as well. So I'll be on their podcast. I've done a few podcasts in the past. I love it. I love chatting with folks. Talking about our story. I mean, anything that's really particularly interesting to kind of cover. I actually did a video one too, which they haven't gotten back to me about because I'm planning on having them not throw my video on there. But yeah, I'm always down. Anything that's a voice chat podcast, as long as I can fit it into my schedule, which one way or another I can fit it into my schedule. I'm always down to do a podcast. So yeah, just hit me whenever you want. We'll set it up.
Awesome. I appreciate it. And I just pinned up that space for everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that, Rye. Yeah, so if anyone hasn't had a chance, check out the pin that's up here from Rye. That's, again, for that Moon Roving 3 hour long spaces. A lot of good information in it, And I will apologize up front. It started for me at 9. It started for me at 8:30, and it ended at 12:30 Is that right? Did it go 4 hours? No, it shouldn't have gone 4 hours.
Yeah, it's
But
3.
yeah, it was 3. But my energy, man, my energy like took a dive at the end there. So anyone that listens into it, I'll apologize in advance at the end there. I know I answer questions and I think I did a pretty okay job with it. I was not anticipating a 3-hour spaces to go till 12:30 in the mornings. So I'll just throw that out there for anyone that does listen in. But yeah, no, appreciate that. Yeah, feel free to check out that pin. I'll leave it up for just a couple more minutes. But I appreciate everyone coming out again this early in the morning or late at night for you, or maybe midday, depending on where you're located. And we'll push out some announcements today. We'll have our raffle going. Keep an eye out for our teaser that we do. And you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Drax.
Yeah, thanks for coming up. I really appreciate it, guys.